Good morning. It's 5:52 a.m. on a Sunday morning of a long weekend, and I'm here at Gawler Central Railway Station. It's been 18 months since the public has been able to step aboard a train to catch into the city. However, today will be the first. Welcome to Railford. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm actually not sure why I chose this name for a YouTube channel. Welcome to Adelaide, and welcome aboard our latest completed public transport infrastructure upgrade, the $900 million Gawler Rail Electrification Project. In this video, we will showcase this upgraded suburban line, an overview of this line for those of you who have never been to Adelaide, what's been involved in the project, and its benefits to the communities and regions it serves. But first, let's take a look at the start of the day the trains finally came back to Gawler. The first train to depart Gawler Central after the completion of the project departed at 6:25 a.m. on the 12th of June 2022, a Sunday morning which happened to be in the middle of the Queen's birthday June long weekend. This, however, didn't stop a somewhat enthusiastic crowd from turning up to celebrate. Meanwhile, 3 kilometres down the line, a local guest was eagerly awaiting the arrival of this long-awaited train.
I'm extremely excited. You can see her here at 6 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday morning to see the first train. I think it's a great moment, and it's a thing when in 20 years' time we'll look back and think how it's really changed public transport for this area.
1, 2, 3, say Gawler!
Gawler! See you later, thank you. Mask on?
This is the Gawler Railway Line, a 42-kilometre or 26-mile suburban railway line from Adelaide, the capital of South Australia, to its northern suburban limit, the beautiful and historic town of Gawler. The line has reopened after 18 months of closure to finish the Gawler Rail Electrification Project, a project that has taken 14 years to achieve after it was first announced in 2008. Started by the then and recently re-elected Labor state government, the project was initially based on money made up of a contribution by the federal government. This work started in June 2010, including the rebuild of a number of stations along the route to accommodate forthcoming electrification, as well as track and track bed renewal, the line being replaced with more resilient concrete sleeper track. Of interest as well, dual gauge sleepers were installed as part of the works, accommodating the current broad gauge that the network uses, as well as future provision for conversion to standard gauge, in line with most of Australia's interstate connected railway systems. From June 2010, the line was closed for 4 months on the southern end of the line between North Adelaide and Mawson Lakes. Then, from September 2010, the line closed from Mawson Lakes all the way through to Gawler, with services resuming again from March 2011. The work was completed in upgrading the line, readying for the next stage of the electrification installation. Everything was going well, until...
You obviously enjoyed hearing it, so let me say it again. The Government of Australia has changed.
A change of federal government from the Labor to the Liberal Party in 2013 saw federal contribution to the next stage of the project withdrawn and poured into other transport projects, mainly roads. This saw the Gawler Rail Electrification Project stagnant for many years. Meanwhile, this wasn't Adelaide's first rodeo when it came to electrifying a suburban railway line. In 2008, the announcement to electrify suburban rail lines wasn't just for the Gawler Line to the north, but also to the southern suburbs Noarlunga Line. Unlike the Gawler Line, the Noarlunga Line would get an additional 5.4 kilometres or 3.4 miles extension down to the growing suburb of Seaford, with 2 additional railway stations and a very epic and impressive viaduct to carry this extension over the Onkaparinga River. All this at a cost of $291 million. It seemed like the southern suburbs were getting a much better deal, as later government decisions would show, as work continued to electrify and extend the southern lines, but halt any progress on the north. Fortunes did change in 2018.
And we're announcing that we are going to complete this project for the full Gawler Line Electrification, and we're going to do it as quickly as possible. We're all about improving public transport in South Australia, reducing travel times, and the good news for the people in northern Adelaide is it's not that far away.
With the then Liberal state and federal government providing funds to now finish the electrification project for the entire route all the way to Gawler Central, the far northern terminus of the line, as opposed to the original piecemeal funding to electrify as far as...
The line will be electrified to Dry Creek, where the trains are serviced.
Service mate. Everything's very industrial.
I think we will start to see more people coming back into the Spence Electric, especially people looking for day trips back out to Gawler, etc., spend money down on the cafe strip in Murray Street. These are really important things. We want as many people to be coming out into our part of Adelaide and engaging with our community, spending money with our local businesses, and I think that that's exactly what this service provides.
Well, it's important. It's important for bringing people to Gawler in terms of business. So a lot of our local tourist operators have suffered as a result of lack of transport. But also importantly, it's not only about providing transport services, it's a question of equity. A lot of people don't have a second car and they rely on public transport and trains for them to go to the doctors or go shopping or go to the city, etc. And the lack of transport has meant that they've actually had to find other ways, much more expensive ways. So public transport is an issue also about cost of living. And public transport is the cheapest way to reduce the transport costs, and therefore we owe it to people in the northern suburbs and Gawler to reduce their cost of living.
So, we're now here at the beautiful Adelaide Railway Station after getting off the first electric train to depart Gawler Central for Adelaide. Quite a bit of enthusiasm on board that train, particularly for a Sunday morning. Someone counted about 65 people on board. So we are going to catch another train back to Gawler, and this one will have quite a few more VIPs and politicians on board. It is a Sunday morning of a long weekend, so things are somewhat quiet at the moment. However, come Tuesday, it's going to be busy. I will show more of this railway station another time, but it is a beautiful facility, and we're very lucky to have something like this here in Adelaide. A press conference with the South Australian Transport Minister, Tom Kustantonis, was held on the concourse of Adelaide Railway Station. Then we all made our way back to the platform for an official ribbon-cutting ceremony.
1, 2, 3.
And then it was back on the train to Gawler for community celebrations to welcome back rail services to the region.
It's amazing. It's amazing. It's timely. It's late. It's a lot more expensive than anyone had hoped, but it's done and it's operating. And hopefully, my biggest fear is getting people back onto the trains. That's a year and a half of not being on them. My concern is, will people come back? I hope they do. They're a game changer. People love electric trains. They're smoother. They're quieter. You get more public permission to roll out more train stock when it's this quiet. And I think that's the key for us, is public permission to do more of this, and public permission to spend less on road infrastructure and more on electrified rail infrastructure to help decarbonise. I mean, we need mass transit to be decarbonised and efficient and clean, and this is what it does.
Pretty much, I think every time we go out, we're going to end up using it because
it'll be our primary means of transport. Neither of us have a license. Well, you have a license, but you can't.
I'm on my L's.
He's on his L's, so he can't drive on his own yet.
Yeah.
So it's our main way of getting to the city, which is where everything, doctor's appointments, uni, pharmacy, shopping, everything's there.
Yeah.
Trains previously stopped running at Christmas 2020 to finish the electrification project. This was substituted with a very extensive railway replacement bus operation taking place while the project was being completed. Little did we realise how long this would be drawn out to. The work done over 2021 and the first half of 2022 comprised of both the primary electrification works as well as other significant infrastructure related upgrades. The rebuild of the former King Street Bridge at Gawler Central, now converted to a pedestrian bridge. Replacement of the signalling system to replace existing signals with LED light signals, as well as the installation of ATP, or Automatic Train Protection System. As well as aesthetic upgrades such as the rebuild of 14 stations along the route with upgraded waiting shelters, the resurfacing of platforms, as well as new updated signage, refencing of the corridor, and many other little minor touches. Significant investments have been made with the ordering of 12 additional 3-car 4000 class electric multiple unit trains called ACITY sets. Adelaide Metro currently have 22 of these sets already running on the electrified Seaford line down south, and so far 4 of the additional 12 trains have been delivered. At the time of this video's production, it was accepting that the existing 3000 class diesel rail cars would be resuming services on the Gawler Line for the next year, as the government await progressive delivery of the remaining electric train sets. We arrived into Gawler with very excited local community fanfare. The most excitement that this town has seen at this station in a very long time, much like since the first train ever arrived into Gawler.
It's awesome. Isn't it a great day? Trains running back now on the Gawler Line. We want to get people back on public transport. If you catch a train every day, you'll save over $20,000 a year. That's an amazing, particularly with prices over $2 a litre. But what's better now is getting people back on our public transport. The Gawler Line open after 18 months of closure, letting people in the Gawler and northern suburbs now back with a fully serviced electric trains. We'll run diesels and electrics over the next 12 months. Then having them back for a full electric service, making it more sustainable and better for our community. And now we can let the people and the patrons reuse this. We thank them for their patience while we've undertaken these important works.
Now with trains having returned to the Gawler Line, the communities along its route will hopefully reap all the benefits of an improved and upgraded frequent and reliable rail service, with faster and quieter trains, as well as the environmental benefits of running electric trains versus diesel. This is my first foray into creating documentary style videos about railways for YouTube, and I have a lot more content to come, mainly exploring journeys I've taken aboard heritage railways and mainline rail tours. If you've made it this far, write in the comment below with the name Cuddler, one of the stations along the route, and I'll give your comment a like as a big thank you for tuning in all the way through. And of course, if you have enjoyed this video, then please by all means give it a like, and I also invite you to subscribe to the channel for future content. I have a lot in the pipeline getting edited, when I can of course, and when real life isn't interfering with that process. Here's some other videos I've created for your enjoyment, Thank you and good day.